Hey, it's Dranka again. I'm making a bit more of a push video here, trying to see how the 85 is gonna go. I'm gonna go show a little bit more on what the build does, and then see how this runs. So the build is essentially a 4-button build, and you can sort of see that here on the skill tree, where I use Brandish, which basically I can also use Clash. Just gonna use this. Maybe if I need more defense. The Brandish is set here to give me vulnerability. Um, this build right now kind of needs a basic because it uses a lot of, it spams a lot of Divine Lances. Right now it's at 33, so I've got Divine Lance beefed up, I've got Core Skills beefed up, so there's a lot of damage going on. And most Divine Lance builds turn it into a Zealot skill, and just kind of does a lot of damage using that. Here, what this is doing is actually using this Divine Javelin, which the lance then becomes a thrown object, which impales things, but more than that, it just explodes. So does a whole boatload of damage. I mean, things really do kind of die to this. Like the previous run I had like 1 trillion in damage coming out of that. I've got Engard beefed up to get massive amount of armor and block chance. And then I have 2 auras, both of which I actually almost never pressed. The Defiance aura and the Fanaticism aura. And I've got like 5 points into the Defiance aura. I honestly probably don't need that many. I could probably just drop some more and put it into more offensive things if I wanted to. The build needs a little bit more fine-tuning. And Falling Star here is used. Falling Star partly is used with the Disciple, so that it basically become a Arbiter of Justice when it lands. You'll sort of see this when I show that. And cooldowns gets reduced fast. Lots of things are vulnerable. And then I get 1 more charge. So Falling Star is available almost like all the time. I've got increased damage by fortified on the amulet, and a bunch of stuff. You can see all these ones coming from the shroud. And then I've got the Arbiter of Justice, which is there partly for movement, and then the wing strikes apply vulnerability, and also kind of act as a nice baseline level of damage. Now, notice that here I don't use the damage increase from Arbiter, and instead just go with the Coat of Arms, which, because I'm running essentially 100% block chance and a lot of armor, gives me 114 damage. That's a lot of damage. And you can also see that here in the Oaths, where I'm running Disciple, and what Disciple does is that casting a Disciple skill with cooldowns gives me Arbiter for 4.5 seconds. And Wing Strikes also gain Disciple benefits. So and then you have this, while in Arbiter form, your Disciple skills deal 50% more damage. In Arbiter form, this is a Disciple skill. More importantly, this is a Disciple skill, and that's what does a lot of damage. You get a 50% damage increase to this in Arbiter form. So it's kind of how it just basically runs and gives a massive nuke. And we'll quickly go over the Paragon boards. Again, maybe they need to be improved a little bit. Still kind of fine-tuning stuff. On the starter build, I've got Outmatch. This one's one I feel sort of not so great about, honestly, but it's there because it's a massive stat stick. It's like 42 strength, a lot of damage, and that's what it's there. Yes, the 20% increased physical damage almost never happens. It's okay. On this one, also the glyph is a little funny in that it's like boosting wind strikes, which is kind of a secondary damage. The main thing here though is that you have 18% damage when you're in Arbiter form. The idea is you just get that, multiplicative boost, and multiplicative boosts are graced. As you can imagine, Castle is here. Castle is a 15 times damage multiplier. Not the most you can imagine. Once you get in there, Castle is going to get increased even more because the Defiance aura is kicking in. I'm still in town, so some of those hasn't kicked in. And on the next board, I have Relentless. So, and here you see there's a lot of mobility. This is a very fast moving build, so just get 80% damage increase. And now here I've put something a little more sort of in tune with this build, which is Apostle, which basically increases my disciple skills. Imagine lots of things are disciple skills. This is like a fantastic lift for this build. On the next board, I get Divinity, which is in Arbiter form. I deal a lot of damage to vulnerable enemies. Now, making things vulnerable isn't always reliable here. I have Brandish to do that, and the Wing Strikes. It's kind of there. And then here we have Canny, which again is also really cool, because the idea is non-physical damage, and holy damage counts as non-physical damage, increases more holy damage, which is really kind of stacks and helps you melt elites and bosses like nothing. On the last board, I was trying to thought about getting shield block, but that's still better, but it doesn't really do anything. I just do Endure, and it's like 90% damage, a very flat buff damage increase. I have Fortify through the seasonal power, so it's just there. It's kind of perma guaranteed. And on this side, I have critical strike damage, and this, I don't have like max critical strike damage. I'm only about 50%, 60%. You see a lot of critical strikes on this stuff. This really does hurt, and this also stacks damage. You can see. So this is why this build really does like nuke elites, which is very cool actually. You want things to nuke elites. So the highest I've done is 86. You can kind of tell. For now, we're gonna do 85. And it's getting to that point where things are getting a little spicy, and I'm taking a little bit of damage. And let's see, a little bit of tweaks to try and modify around that. So especially in hardcore. Okay, so nuking, just to kind of get things going. Trying to avoid Belial. Partly, I feel like I don't completely know that boss. There's some long distance nuking to help those guys. See, one of the interesting things about the way this build plays is you literally just run past it and shoot stuff from behind. Yeah, it's not bad. Because I'm running the wrong way. Oh, well, I just missed it. Seconds running back and forth. Read the map super well. The line stuff is confusing me. Okay, and jumping action. The good thing is that actually so far it's any damage. It sounds silly, but trying to push on hardcore. You really do try to watch. Okay, that was a lot. So 1 minute 30 seconds. Almost have it got. Almost got half of it. So pretty good. Also, at least as far as this strategy goes, avoided hitting any. Oh, those Belial attacks. Okay, yeah, a nice 187 hit. Yes, a lot of jumping. Yeah, just land and I can't even tell how much they do. That's a lot of damage. You can see the damage is being done by two things. Can't tell quite how much damage Brandish is doing, but it's not, it's not zero. Okay, yep, now that is where, oopsie, there she goes. Yeah, my two barriers, and we managed to get through both of them. Yep. It's a nice good time running. 234 damage. Listeners, the barriers are back up, and really not even new time. This is much more about not getting myself killed. where this is set up right now, the damage potential outdoes the survival potential. So of course, in hardcore you have to do both. Stay alive. The toons don't do DPS. Okay. Didn't do any good in combat. Okay. I mean, this is a very good time. But it's essentially a bit of a good run. Okay. That was bad. As you can see. You have to be careful with evades. I have a lot of evades. Trying to. There we go. I didn't end up using all my faith, and boss is dead. Which is nice. I mean, this is an 85 boss. Has about 100 plus, 100 billion plus damage, and there we go. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hope you sort of stay with me as I continue the quick push. And take care, please. Yep. See you. And my glyphs aren't even fully upgraded yet, so there's ways to go. There's more damage to come. And, hopefully, a bit tears to climb. Okay. Take care.